The NEP, the New Education Policy, has been out for 3 years. The idea of it, its innovation floating around school sectors for 3 consecutive years. And yet wide implementation of the NEP and all it has entailed has proved to be a challenge, one that the Indian education system is still dealing with. Albeit the innovation and the idea of the NEP were revolutionary, it was its implementation that's acting as a roadblock. To speak more about the importance of strengthening implementation of innovation and creating an impact on the ground, we have Mr. Syed Sultan Ahmed.
A passionate educator, first-gen social entrepreneur, and founder of LXL Ideas, Mentor Magazine, and Crayon Events, he is a winner of 7 prestigious President of India's National Film Awards and has impacted education in over 15 countries. We'd like to invite sir up on the stage.
Good afternoon, everybody. All right. Fantastic work, Ravi. Thank you so much, and it's a great opportunity for me to be here. For over 20 years now, I'm one of those idiots who's trying to do things which are so different from what I grew up in school. So that's been a journey, and what I'm going to do over the next 15 minutes is just share with you. Can you move on to the next slide, my topic slide, please? One of the things I've done very common is I've spoken and I've been participant for a lot of conferences, and one key topic every discussed is innovation. We hear about innovation, we get back to school, continue doing what we've been doing. There's very little of the innovation that gets implemented. So what I want to share with you is my personal journey of how an innovative idea, something that was absolutely strange for a large part of the world. Hey, where's my presentation? And I don't have a clicker in my hand, so can you go on to the next slide, please? The next one, and the next one, please. Yes. So I'm going to be talking about my journey of innovation to implementation. And before I do that, I have to set the context. I'm absolutely lucky, that's what I think I am, because I straddle 4 different, very diametrically opposite worlds. I'm a filmmaker, so I live in the film fraternity. In fact, over the past month, I was heading a jury in Italy and in South Korea. I'm an events person. A large part of my life, I've built more events in this country than most of you can wildly imagine. Spell Bee, Pogo Amazing Kids Awards, Holics Whiz Kids, Dell Champs, NSC Financial Quest, all the big events that your kids have participated in the past 15 years were done by my team. I run a magazine called Mentor. And more importantly, I studied entrepreneurship from one of the world's best colleges, the MIT in Boston. So I'm an entrepreneur, and I am seeing education from 4 different spaces. So my experience shared today comes from a vantage point, which I think I'm absolutely lucky to have. So moving on, if you look at the idea of innovation, good morning. Next slide, please. Ideas change the world? I think there's a question mark to it. Can you move to the next one? Implementation of ideas does. I come from a city called Bangalore. You walk into any coffee shop in Bangalore and ask people with an entrepreneurial idea, the chances are there are going to be 5 hands up with an idea for an entrepreneurial venture to be started. Ideas don't change the world. And I'm talking about first-hand experience. In the year 99, I got a $500,000 investment from Wipro to start an edtech company, and I blew it up in less than 1.5 years. And over these 20 years, I've run, sold, invested in multiple ventures. The one thing that I know, it's all about the implementation. So let's move on. How I wish I had that. Innovation is not selfish. And remember, I'm not talking about the innovation you want to do in your classroom and not the innovation you want to do in your school. This morning, Mr. Jha told us that the whole world and its focus is changing east. Do you realize the responsibility that you're sitting on? The world looks at India today for innovation. The world looks at India for it to be taken forward in multiple spheres, and India has delivered. We delivered in healthcare, we delivered in technology, we delivered in pharmaceuticals, we delivered in multiple areas, but not in education. If you look at the kind of work that we do, the whole of Africa, the whole of Latin America, the whole of Middle East, the whole of Central Asia and South Asia, they all look up to us. East Europe looks up to us. They don't relate to the American and the British system as much as they relate to us. Thankfully, my generation and your generation of people in most of the countries of the world, what they think about Indians? They think all of us are engineers, doctors, and teachers. Your responsibility stems from one mindset change that I want you to bring on. You know what's the mindset change? The change that you need to bring on is the moment I ask you, who are you responsible for? Who are your students? You have a very horse-blinded answer. The ones who got admission in my school, the ones who wear my school uniform, and the ones who have paid fees in my school. What about all the other millions of children in this country? Not my responsibility. So you run 1 school, 2 schools, 5, 10, 40 schools. But ask the same question to a young entrepreneur. He says, my TAM is 300 million children, 1.5 million schools in India. My serviceable addressable market is going to be the private low-cost schools. My serviceable obtainable market. Think larger. The day you start thinking larger is the day when innovation will start scaling. Let's move to the next slides a few quickly, please. Many universal challenges that we face. Move on. There's a lot. Which one are you going to solve? And remember, you're not solving this for your school or for your classroom, because that is not your responsibility. Every time someone calls you a school leader, it is not for you to get claps in your classroom and in your school. It is, can you change the world? There are problems that you and I can solve. So let's move on, please. 11 years ago, and I see some very familiar faces, I presented an idea, a wild idea. I said that, can we make films to be introduced into a classroom? The world's largest filmmaking country, the world's largest young population, and we make the least number of films for children. The world's most influential medium, cinema, storytelling, it's emotions, it's entertaining, it's audiovisual, and we don't use it. We've relegated cinema to just entertainment. Could we have changed it? I presented that idea, and this is what happened. Can you just move? Before I started working on the project, there was a lot of clarity. Learning has to be for life. In fact, my company's name, LXL, is Learning the X Factor of Life. We're not preparing children to get a job or a livelihood. We need to prepare them for a life. And when you're talking about the whole idea of AI and what we're doing today in the future of education, it's so important that we do this. Scaling with quality. Anyone who's run more than 1 school knows exactly what I'm talking about. How do you scale with consistency of quality? And the last, this is my journey of life. Can we bring joy in learning? Why do we make it so boring? Can we move to the next slide, please? So you need to have clarity of your problem, and you need to have clarity of your innovation. And my innovation was simple. Here it is. Next slide, please. Film pedagogy. We just made films. Lots of people use clips of films from all over without copyrights, without even thinking about what that would entail. It's like a lot of people telling me 3 Idiots is a good children's film. Oh, no, it's not. You know how the principle is portrayed in that? So you need to make films, and that's what we did. I'm just going to show you a quick video. Moving on, please.
Beyond the world of math and science, there is the subject called life. Dealing with failure, being safe online, standing up to peer pressure, embracing diversity. These are some of the life lessons that need to be taught to our kids in school through a medium they understand best. LXL Ideas brings to you School Cinema, a unique program that teaches lessons of life using the power of cinema. So how does it work? Each year, students watch 10 age-relevant short films, each based on a value or life skill. They discuss the film and then work on activities and projects in their My Cinema book. This circle of learning is completed with exclusive films for parents and teachers. The School Cinema app gives access to the whole family to watch these films. School Cinema has already reached over 1 million students across 4 countries. Its films have won 7 national awards and have featured in over 350 film festivals around the world. So come, learn with School Cinema, the subject called life.
So 11 years later, what I can report to you, an idea that I shared with educators, is one of the largest life skills learning program in the country. The UNICEF quotes it as a part of their 21st century skills and as one of the most effective scaling programs. Saudi Arabia today, Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan, Qatar, and Croatia are countries that we're working with to take this program and implement it in their own languages, in their own styles. I want to just end one thing over here. You know, you guys have done amazing work, but that's just the foundation. And some of you are much older than I am. Set a vision not for your lifetime, set it for the generations to come. Your job is not to build schools for India. You and I have the responsibility of changing the education in the world. You have the background, you have the experience. Do you have the vision? Break out of those four walls of your classroom, of your school. Start embracing every child as your responsibility. That's when you start thinking of changing the world. Thank you so much.
Son, we just got business. And the professor from IIT said we have got a few crores budget and we want to make movies. We just got business.
Thankfully.
I was wondering how we managed this $500,000 from Wipro. I'd like to know, I'm in Bangalore. Somebody can sponsor.
So this was Wipro Netcracker had just launched their ISP. This is 1999, 2000, .com era. I started a company called SchoolKingdom.com. Yeah? I just blew 500,000, 22 billion went down the drain in the past year from Byju's. So.
That's an interesting comparison.
Yeah.
Some secrets can't be told. Thank you, Sultan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh wow, I love this. Thank you so much, sir. Such a pleasure.